Joining us right now, the voice of the San Francisco 49ers. There were no Ayuks on fire yesterday.
Didn't need them.
There were plenty of touchdown 49ers. There was a touchdown CMC, and hopefully his voice has recovered on a very rare day after the game appearance for our friend, Mr. Greg Papa. Good morning.
No, but there was a few. You can ring my bell.
Ring my bell. Love it.
Ronnie Bell. Nice play. He had a couple of nice catches. Obviously, the touchdown, the first ever one he had in the NFL. And on the deflected ball, when the ball went up in the air on the slant to Debo, they caused problems. The Giants defense. And, we were talking all week about short week. How do the 49ers get ready on 4 days for Wink Martindale's defense and all the blitzes, and they did a great job. He blitzes like crazy, man. I thought, you're not going to blitz Kyle Shanahan. That's like a quick death rather than a slow death. But they blitzed, and they had good coverage. They took away the inside cuts a lot early in the game. Brock's balls were getting tipped up, and Dory Jackson, the nickelback in particular. And on that play that deflected up in the air and Ronnie Bell caught was one of those exactly. And then they kept blitzing that safety, Jason Pinnock, all night. And it seemed like he was right there in the 49ers signature outside zone boot game coming on the backside. He was always sitting right there and was right in Brock's face. So there were some moments where you thought, wow, this is impressive. But then looking at it from, Wink Martindale's perspective, how do I get ready for Kyle Shanahan's offense in 96 hours? And I got to sleep a little bit too. So in the end, they just got too many weapons, guys. Debo is back to that one play where he broke 4 tackles. It was insane. And then he ran, I think, the best route of his career. He had a great one when Trey Lance started the game against Houston, where he ran a corner post. It turned into an over route. It was like, wow, that's a great route for Debo, because Debo's not a great route runner. But the one last night, the 27-yarder against Dory Jackson to put the game away was a stutter and go, and then it went into a back shoulder right at the pylon. Wow. And Brock kind of missed that throw a little bit. It wasn't exactly to the back shoulder. It was more to the front shoulder. But they just got too many weapons, and there they go again. 30 for Purdy.
Yep.
Right on the number, guys. 30 points exactly.
Well, and that's the thing, Greg. I think we've said it, and you said it, like, if they live in that neighborhood, I just don't know how teams are going to catch them with the defense. And in a day where they didn't turn it over, you mentioned all the blitzing the Giants did, and they were effective at times, but, you still get McCaffrey getting loose. You get Purdy having a big statistical day. Debo, I'm just trying to figure out what a defense's counter is going to be with this offense right now.
And Debo is just so hard, Jason, to deal with. I mean, when you have a wide receiver like Brandon Ayuk, who's your ex-wide receiver, pretty much lines up on the line. If you want to double him, you can double him. But then Kyle Smart, the pre-snap motion, you can go to bunch formations and clusters, and it's hard when you hide a guy. But with Debo, he lines up damn everywhere. He's a running back, when they go Deadpool, and then Tyson formation, he's everywhere. And he's the flanker. He's not the X, he's the Z. So he's the move guy, and you can't get to him. You can't get your hands on him. And even when you do get your hands on him, you tell me, who's a better tackle breaker at wide receiver ever?
Yeah.
I mean, you think of great tackle breakers in football, Earl Campbell, Larry Zonka, Mike Allstott, Allstott up the gut.
Calvin Johnson.
But who's that?
I was saying Calvin Johnson always impressed me with his ability to run over people, but I wouldn't put him with Debo.
Well, he did it because he was Megatron.
Right.
He was just so damn big.
Right.
Debo, at one point I broke into a Debo wobbles, but he won't go down. He's like a Weeble.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that, and he used to have that little pear-shaped body where he looked like a Weeble. Now he's just cut. But he's the charter member of the Yak Bros here. Ayuk and Kittle have jumped on, and McCaffrey, but Debo Samuel is savage. You can't tackle him. So the performance last night and the yards after catch was vintage Debo Samuel. So And now that he's in shape and Kittle's healthy and McCaffrey, I mean, come on. Maybe 30 is too low.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for that damn 30 for 30, we'd want 40
Right.
for Purdy, not 30 for Purdy.
Greg Papa with us. Greg, I'm a diehard fan, and with Brock Purdy, I think like a lot of fans, and it's pretty much just because of where he was drafted. I admit that. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You want to believe, but you're scared. And I told Jason. Jason always tells me, "What's it going to take?" I said, "I don't know. I'll just know when I know." And it was the most random.
You don't know yet.
No.
What are you waiting for?
No. No. I'm saying.
Right.
It was It was last night of all things when there were people out there that don't know what they're talking about, saying, "Oh, he was struggling," and he had got lucky on a potential pick or two and this and that, whatever. But the Giants literally broke a record for percentage of blitzing that they did against Purdy last night, and I just remember watching the game and going, "You know what? Screw where this guy was drafted. Look at his record. Look at the way he carries himself. Look at how his teammates love him. But most importantly, he is calm, cool, and collected in the pocket. He seems to have that sixth sense when he knows that pocket is collapsing and there's a 300-pounder 5 feet away from him coming from behind. And he just seems to make the right decision constantly. He's not Brady. He's not Manning. He's not Marino. I understand that. But last night, I think I finally, Greg, said, I believe in this kid, and I could see him hoisting the Lombardi someday, very soon.
Well, I mean, he's not Brady. He's not Marino. He's not Manning. All right, Dan Marino's in a different category.
Sure.
Dan Marino was such an elite thrower of the football with that quick release, and it was a different time. I mean, he just shattered all the records. He went to 5,084 yards. It's like, who is this guy? 48 touchdown passes. Joe Montana did beat him in one of the great Super Bowls of all time. But Dan Marino, I mean, honestly, Mahomes is amazing. But if I had to play one game to win and I wanted the quarterback, it'd be hard not to take Marino. I mean, if you're just, on the field and they're all showing up for practice, it's like, that 13's pretty good. I think I'm taking him. But, Manning wasn't a fast runner. He didn't have a rocket arm. He was just smarter than everybody. Tom Brady, the same thing. Tom was big and tall. So what's Brock? Because he's short? Because he's 6 feet, 5'8", 7 inch tall? He ran a 4.8, 840, and he has small hands. Is that why he can't do it? The game has changed now with all these spread formations. And again, big brain Brock just dissects you. And everybody wants to look at football is the ultimate team game. And when the quarterback misses a throw, and he missed some throws, the one over to George Kittle, he didn't see Adoree Jackson. The corner came off his man, looked like he was going to throw a pick, and George had to back the ball away. But it's not all about Brock. They were having a hard time as a team on a short week dealing with Wink Martindale blitzing every single play and blitzing in particular on third down. And they were just having a problem. He kept the 49ers signature play as the outside zone, right? Stretch left, stretch right. And off of that is the keep game, the boot game, the reaction where the quarterback comes across the formation. They did as good of a job as I've ever seen a team. And, you don't block the backside end on that play. He's a free hitter, but he's coming. But they were bringing the safety, Jason Pinnock, and he was like, how does he know which side we're going to boot it to every time he was sitting there so many times? Like the one time in the low red zone, he did it going left, he did it going right. It's like, wow, this is hard to deal with. But and they may get some plays on you, but in the end, you see the 49ers offensive total?
Yeah.
They did whatever they want, and they ran up 400 yards, and on third down, they went to the Debo, laser screen going left, the McCaffrey screen going right. They converted a 3rd and 15 and a 3rd and 30 right before the Ronnie Bell touchdown, Dave. And we learned from Brock Purdy. I think with young quarterbacks, the old age-old axiom in the NFL is blitz young quarterbacks. We saw right away in his first game off the bench in the middle of the game against the Miami Dolphins, they ran more cover zero blitzes, which means no safety in the middle of the field. Everybody's coming. They had like 10, which they threw at him in that game. And the ultimate one was one to George Kittle on a 3rd and 10. He hit him right over the middle. And he told George Kittle, before the route, run this shorter. I'm getting you the ball because they're coming. And it's amazing. So the numbers from Next Gen Stats last night, you guys probably already had them.
Yeah.
The Giants blitz Purdy 84.6% of his dropbacks, 33 of 39, the highest blitz rate since they've been doing this Next Gen Stat stuff. And he just roasted them. He was 20 of 31 for 247 and 247 yards, 2 touchdowns against the blitz. So that's the big brain Brock. And there's going to be some snaps that don't go great. You know what I love about Brock Purdy? He throws the ball away sometimes. You have 3 and 4 downs now in the NFL to keep the drive going. If it doesn't go great on first down, just throw it away. Don't throw it to the other team. He has not thrown an interception since the first day of 2023. That was in Las Vegas on New Year's Day.
Wow.
That's the last time he's thrown an interception. And the 49ers, they now have a 13-game winning streak. You see the stat that Amazon Prime at the end of the game on last night? They've won 13 straight games, right? Which, the New England Patriots one year won 25 in a row, or over 2 years. The 49ers had a 15-game winning streak in the late 80s. But the 13 straight regular season wins with no more than 1 turnover in any game is the longest streak in NFL history. So this guy's laying 30 on you every night. He's throwing for 300 yards when he's required because you're blitzing him. If not, they'll run it for 300. They had 39 runs last night, so look at the efficiency, and he does not turn the ball over. I mean, the only way to beat him is what the Philadelphia Eagles did, and that is knock him out of the game on the 7th play of the game.
Yeah. Greg, I know we've talked about Purdy, Brock Purdy, excuse me. We talked about Deebo Samuel, certainly George Kittle. McCaffrey's game was great, but I thought they showed even more depth last night. You mentioned Bell to start the interview, the conversation here. I thought Elijah Mitchell looked really good. How nice is it to have just the overall depth, even Jennings getting his part of what this offense could be, certainly even this game without Ayuk as well.
Yeah, I mean, the headliners, and we're talking about the highest paid players in pro football with the halfback, the fullback, the tight end, Deebo, and then Trent Williams. And Trent was nasty last night. I don't know how he didn't get ejected. He threw a punch there. But in any event, yeah, I think going into the game, especially, Jason, off the short week, and McCaffrey played every single snap in L.A., and when you look at the Pittsburgh game as well, he played 92% of the snaps. He had 48 touches. They wanted to divvy it up, and they went to Elijah Mitchell early. I think it was the second series last night he rotated in. So he had 11 carries for 42 yards, and he's a hard runner. And I think while Elijah's healthy, you gotta divvy it up a little bit and not ride. At the end of the year, you don't want McCaffrey having 300 carries, and you don't want him. It's going to be 300 carries and how many catches. So you don't want him getting to 400 touches and just wearing him down, because then you got to play in January. He looks like he's indestructible, but he has had a history of soft tissue injuries, and he's so violent. The stiff arm he's laying on people. Wow. He's good. I think hanging around Deebo Samuel, he just doesn't want to get tackled. And Kittle, these guys do not want to get tackled. So when they go in the film room and they're looking at each other, you got to be a guy who breaks tackles like Deebo and Kittle. And it's just what they do. And Ayuk and JJ and all of them. So it's unreal. But, yeah, Elijah Mitchell runs really hard, and I'd like to see it. I think the one way to get him in, because I was talking to Anthony Lynn one day at practice, I'm like, he's such a great player. When do you get him off the field? Do you want to get McCaffrey off on like a short yardage or goal line? Because Elijah Mitchell can run short yardage. J.P. Mason is actually a very good short yardage back. Goal line, if McCaffrey carries the ball 5 or 6 times to take you to the 1 yard line, you kind of want to give him the touchdown to punch it in. And he's got this streak now where he scored a touchdown in 12 consecutive games to tie Jerry Rice's record in franchise history. So I think the way to do it is the way they did it last night. Just give McCaffrey a whole series off where, just go to Elijah Mitchell. And Elijah can be a 3-down back. He's catching the ball much better out of the backfield. They trust him in blitz pickups. So, yeah, I think it was important to give Elijah Mitchell last night those 11 carries.
As we say goodbye, Greg, I would say this. I was thinking about you during the game last night, and I get it. Let doctors operate, let a lawyer's lawyer, whatever. But I was thinking about you when Jake Moody kicked that field goal to open the scoring for the Niners. And he is, by the way, I'm sure you saw this, the first kicker in history to have at least 3 field goals and 3 extra points in his first 3 games. There's a lot of kicking going on, and that's great, except that, that's not touchdown San Francisco. That's not touchdown CMC. So I'm wondering if at some point, if it's a field goal heavy game, if we might hear a field goal, Jake Moody.
For Robbie Gold, I gave you the, gold.
Yes.
But Jake's nickname is Money. So when he makes the 57-yard field goal, I don't think I broke that out yet. He made a 57-yard field goal, by the way, second longest in the history of the franchise. I interviewed him the other day. I said, how far out can you go? In practice one time in Michigan, he made a 72.
Wow.
Come on.
I'm like, was it downhill with a gust of wind behind you? Was Harbaugh pushing you? He's like, no, standard field, little bit of wind.
Wow.
Gosh.
But that's not a rush. So, but I think he could get David Akers' record. But I love the consistency in the Purdy for 30.
Yes.
In every single game, we've used the same exact scoring. 3 touchdowns, 3 extra points, 3 Jake Moody field goals. So there's your 30.
Yeah.
So 21 plus 9 is 30. And if they get to 30, their defense is, you're going to have a hard time getting 13 on the 49ers defense this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very rare game where they give up 30. But the one thing I would say, Kyle, now this was important for Moody to get off to the start.
Yes.
For a lot of reasons. All the anxiety and angst of August has turned into a spectacular September for him. But he also had to win the confidence of the head coach. Kyle's tough on everybody. With Robbie Gold, Robbie wouldn't make one or even try one beyond 53 yards. But he made them all inside, 40 and 50. And Kyle, a lot of coaches, 4th down, but Kyle likes going 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever you keep scoring with this defense and this running game. As long as you keep scoreboard, just keep looking at the scoreboard. And I told you that when I look at this offense and the great ones in the history of football, it's like bowling. You don't want in the open frames. A strike is a touchdown and a spare is a field goal. And spares aren't bad. You don't want to leave an open frame. That's the way the math in bowling works. You carry it. I'm from Buffalo, so I did a lot of bowling, a lot of beer drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just, they just keep moving it. So I think it's important more than anything for everybody getting, all the wild, anxiety over Jake Moody from the fan base, but that's not critical. It's Kyle Shanahan. He had to win Kyle Shanahan over that he would be reliable and to start his career by making every single kick. He's 9 for 9 on field goals. He's 9 for 9 on extra points. Who's the greatest place kicker in the history of the NFL?
Justin
Tucker. And going into the game this week, the only other kicker to begin his career by making all 6 field goals and all 6 PATs was Justin Tucker back in 2012. Well, Jake Moody just one-upped him. He has now done it in 3 games, and he's 9 field goals and 9 PATs, and that is critical for this coach to believe in him and keep moving that scoreboard.
That is the voice of the Niners, Greg Papa, who hopefully will enjoy an 8-9 day layoff before getting back at it. And we don't want to look beyond, Arizona, but
yeah.
Arizona.
And the Cowboys.
Oh my
Cowboys
goodness.
are coming in. I know where you're going.
Yeah, you know where I'm going.
I know where you're going.
Can't wait.
I hope they're undefeated.
Yep.
And they've got Arizona this week, guys. So we'll watch that game closely. The next 2 49er opponents will play Sunday afternoon in Glendale. But bring them on. 4-0 Niners, 4-0 Dallas Cowboys. They lost Trayvon Diggs yesterday with a torn ACL.
Yeah,
how about them Niners?
We'll see. We'll talk to you next Friday.